Hey crafters, welcome to Creative Moments by G. We're excited that you're here. We're going to show you how to make some faux diagonal cards. Let's head down to the crafting table. Let me show you what I mean. Look at these cards. How pretty are they? Now you can have the basic faux diagonal cards or you can jazz it up. But this is just a strip of cardstock. Typically, you cut this cardstock in half or this pattern paper and you're having to use all your measurements. Not today. I'm going to show you how to create a faux diagonal card. Let's get busy. Okay, the first thing you'll need to do, we're going to use a top fold card. And this is simply 11 by 8.5 scored at 5.5. And then you just cut it straight down the middle at 4 1/4. Now the next thing you want to do is go ahead and cut your mat to cover the entire space. And so that would be 5.5 by 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and lay that down. Now I want to remind you that all the measurements are listed over on creativemomentsbyg.com. You can go there, click on my blog, and you'll have all the measurements. So don't worry about writing those down right now. We're just going to use some wet glue to adhere this to the front of our card. Now, like I said, typically on this piece of cardstock or this patterned paper right here, you have to measure where you want to cut it so that you can spread it apart and you can put your sentiment or however you're going to decorate it. Not today. No, this is a quick and easy background card that you're going to love to create. Now, the next thing I did is I cut a strip that would go the width of the card, and I'm going to just put it at a slant. Now I want to go ahead and set this up on dimensionals just in case I decide maybe I want to put something underneath it, then that gives me that option to do that. So let's bring in our dimensionals and let's just put a few on the back. Now I'm going to keep some distance between them, like I said, just in case I want to put some leaves or something and slide it in. We don't want it hitting dimensionals every single time. Now, this is the easy part. You just decide how much of an angle or a diagonal you want. Now, I'm going to measure kind of the distance on this top right and this bottom left. It's not going to be perfect, but that's the angle that I want for my diagonal strip of paper. Now, I have cut another piece of paper that I will be putting right there. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. Now, I have selected a sentiment, "You're the best kind of person." And I am using this beautiful stamp set, Citrus Bloom, and the pattern paper because I want the paper to do the work for me. This is from that kit. I also cut out a beautiful orange to go right here on the card. How pretty is that? So we need to judge basically how much room I need for this right here. So I know I need to put it about right there. So I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy and I'm just going to stamp my sentiment. Tap, tap, tap. And it's going to be at a slant. And I'm just going to hold it so we can transfer all that goodness onto our white cardstock. Look at that, just perfect. Now, this is a quick and easy faux diagonal card. So I cut this strip to go the distance right here, but I left a 1/4 inch. So I left an 1/8 on either side. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up on dimensionals because I want to give it some additional height. I think that always looks really pretty. So let's go ahead and just put our dimensionals right here on our base diagonal mat. Let's take the backing off and then we can set this right on top. Okay, let's just line this up. Look at that. Now all we have to do is flip it over and cut the sides off. Look how pretty that is. Now, check out the video that I have listed at the end of this one. It's another example of a diagonal card that's the original diagonal card. It's not a faux one. It actually has measurements where you have to cut apart this mat. But this is so quick and easy. Maudie and I thought that you would really love having this design in your craft box, right? Okay, the next thing we want to do is bring in our orange and decide exactly where do we want it. I think I want to cover up this little corner right here with the leaf, so I'm going to put it just like that. You can lay it flat or you can raise it up. I'm going to go ahead and just lay this one flat because I have so many dimensionals right there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right on that faux diagonal cardstock. Oh, look at that. Now all I have to do is cut this edge off. Look at the front of that card, so pretty. Now let's open this up and let me show you how we want to decorate the inside of this. We took just some of the blue cardstock from this mat right here, and let's just add it right down the side just to give it some interest. Now I'm going to use a tape runner so that it grabs it right away. I'm going to put down my silicone mat and just run that tape runner right down the side. My tape, and I went ahead and cut this the exact measurement of the card, and now I'm going to do it to the other side as well. Look at that. Just gave it a little bit of interest. Now let's do something a little more interesting. Let's take some of our patterned paper. Now, how many times do you have an image on the side and you're like, I don't know what to do with it because it cut off part of the leaf? Well, cut this out and let me show you how we're going to use it. Now, this already has a straight edge, and so we're just going to add this right on the edge of our strip. How perfect is that? So all those little bits that you have, don't throw those away of your patterned paper. Those corners and edges, you can use those. Just like that. Now we're going to add a sentiment right here on the inside of our card, down at the very bottom. Bring in our Knight of Navy. Tap, tap, tap. You make my heart smile. And look at this faux diagonal card. Very easy to do. We let our patterned paper do the work for us. We didn't even have to measure. We just cut our strips of paper and laid them across, but yet it looks like a regular diagonal fold. Let's make one more, and on this one, let's jazz it up a little bit. Now on this one, we have several stamp sets because I wanted to use the sentiment here. We're using this beautiful set of flowers. And to jazz it up, we're going to emboss the front of the card. Let me show you what that looks like. Look at this card. Look at how beautiful that is. We just took a portrait card and ran it through the embossing machine just to give it that interest. Wasn't hard. So this creates our beautiful background. Then we stamped our flowers and we just cut them in half, just like this. Now we are going to go ahead and color these very quickly, and we are using Old Olive and Pumpkin Pie for our colors. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, you don't have to spend a lot of time on your flowers. Look at the shading. I flooded it with the light color first, and then I just brought in the darker color and I put it on the lines that are already there for you, creating that beautiful shading effect. Now, once again, I flooded my leaves and I'm just bringing in a darker green, Old Olive, just to go over the veins of the leaf to give it that shadowy effect. Now, another tip, if you think that those veins are a little bit too dark for you, you can bring in a lighter color and you can go over those. And because these are alcohol markers, it will lighten up that darker area as the alcohol marker, the color dissipates. So that is also an option for you. So we have cut our mats again, and remember, check on our website, my blog, and you can have all these measurements. Now we're going to do it just like this, and then we are going to add our beautiful flowers to it. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is going to be. Let's go ahead and get this laid down. Now I want to put this one up on dimensionals. We are just going to put our cardstock at a diagonal. Once again, I'm going to try to measure the same distance from here to here. Now remember, on our other card, we put a piece of pattern paper down. This is our pattern paper. Because we used an embossing folder, we don't have to add another piece of cardstock. So let's go ahead and just get that about that size. Now, I want to go ahead and stamp my beautiful sentiment down before I put this right here on our card. So we need to stamp it right in the center, right like this. Let's bring that in. Bring in our Night of Navy. Tap, tap, tap. Look at that. So pretty. Now, because I told you, I'm going to put this right on the card. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just lay this down with some tape. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on the back. I'm going to center it. And now I'm going to glue these down right up against that black strip. So let's go ahead and put some glue. Just get that right where I want it. And we are ready to cut off the sides. So just flip it over. Let's get that cut off. On the inside of this one, you can go ahead if you want to double mat it. You can add another sentiment. I'm going to leave plenty of room to write on this one. So here we have our beautiful faux diagonal card, jazzed up just a little bit. We have the one that we made earlier, and let's talk about these beautiful ones that I showed you at the beginning. Now this is just from some patterned paper. This is patterned paper. Here are our strips cut once again. Makes it look like a diagonal cut to where your cardstock is cut apart, but it's not, because this is a faux diagonal card. Just love it. Look at the inside. We put our strips down the side. We added a tree and a sentiment. And then we had this card right here. This is some patterned paper. We added a much smaller border right here. This is just a 1/16 of an inch on either side. We stamped this and the branches, colored them, and cut them out. Once again, though, this faux diagonal card right here, and you open it up, and we have our strips down the side. So what do you think about this faux diagonal card? It's quick, it's easy, but is a fantastic card. Now remember, check out this video here, because this is a regular diagonal card that you might be interested in watching as well. We sure hope that you were inspired by this video and that you take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. Monty and I want to wish you a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.